Assalamu alaikum. Good evening. I'll start again.
I think you should.
Assalamu alaikum. Good evening. You're listening to Islam Radio on 106.2 FM. This is a Wealth Made Simple show. I'm your host, Shaz Nawaz, and I have with me in the studio
Kieron Bateman.
As every week. Wa alaikum salam, Kieron. As always, we'd love for you to participate. You can call us on 01733 602 133.
That's old school. It's a phone number.
It is, isn't it? Or you can text us on 07411 191 062, or use any of the popular live streams on Facebook, YouTube, X, or Twitch. Which one do you prefer out of all those, Kieron?
For watching live streams or for
participating, getting involved?
Getting involved. Probably YouTube, actually, to be honest, on all forms.
So do I. But I'd like to call in and have a chat.
Yeah. I like when others call in and have a chat.
Yeah.
But me personally, I'll be textually based.
You'll send a message on some via YouTube or whatever.
Message in a bottle.
That works, my friend. That works. And talk about messages. Sorry?
Sting? Message in a bottle, or is it the police?
I think it's the police, isn't it?
I think it is.
You're trying to test me, aren't you?
I am.
You know I forget all these things, don't you? Yeah. When you play it, I'll tell you what it is. Until then, don't ask me who started it, what was the quote, and who sang it, where were they.
It's music from the greatest era of music.
Yes. The 1970s. Yep. No, the 80s were the best, I think, by far. But yeah, maybe I'm
with you.
Emotionally attached to that. Okay. Nostalgia isn't what it used to be, Kieron. On that note, this week... On that note, this week on Wealth Made Simple, we're talking about a really important topic, and it really is a game changer. And I know that's overused by people, but I think this particular topic about habits really changes the way that one sees things, how they perform, the results that they get, and the influence and impact that they can create.
Yeah. Habits are both good, and the thing is, when someone says habit to you or to the wider community, wider world, a lot of the time it comes with a negative connotation. Instantly, people jump on the bad habits. Oh, you've got a habit. Oh, okay. Or you smoke, you drink, you vape, whatever.
So on and so forth. Yeah.
So on and so forth. Everyone acknowledges.
Yeah, what habits do you have? And people use it to talk about the bad habits.
Yeah, it's always the bad habits.
Yeah.
Yeah. What habits do you have? I make a to-do list every morning. That's not a bad habit to have.
But not many people say that.
But not many people say that. And not many people think about it
Yeah.
when they're thinking about habits.
Because I think people use that word interchangeably with vice.
Yes.
Some will say, what's your vice? Or, do you know what I mean? Or
what's your
poison? Yeah. Others will say, what habits do you have? Do you have any habits?
Yeah.
And you're right. People should go into that particular mode of, drinking, smoking, whatever else is, chocolate.
Yeah,
eating too much food or sugar.
Foods.
Do you know what I mean? So
fast
food. Yeah, so you're right. It's just, and yet it has many positive connotations.
Yeah.
So we're going to talk about.
That's what this show's all about.
This is what the show is all about. Okay, and how you can translate that into having a wealth made simple mindset. So we're going to talk about habits, and then we're going to talk about how to create habits, and more importantly, how to change your habits or break your habits.
Yep.
But what's really important, Kieron, from my point of view, is if one's looking to change a habit or create a new habit, is you have to realize that you really want to do it. And not because somebody else says you ought to do it because it's going to change your life or make it better for you. So you need this inner self to realize that this really is what you want. And until you make that choice, you can create whatever habit you like artificially. I don't think it works.
I've got an example of that. So I was on a course with someone some time ago, and someone we both know was running the course, Paul Beck.
Mm-hmm.
And this was about mindset and engagement and planning, and part of it was set a reminder on your phone, 5 p.m, 6 p.m. every day, and do a little bit every day. Just do a little bit. And there were some people on the course that set the reminder, and did the bare minimum because that was what they had to do for the course. And
Which usually is the majority at best.
yeah, and then when
best.
the course was over, oh, that reminder got that got stopped.
Yeah, the course is finished now. Not
The course is finished. I don't need to do it anymore. It's so. It was a habit they had for the course, but it wasn't
to meet the criteria.
to meet the
look
criteria.
good or
But
whatever,
it wasn't a habit that they
wanted to form.
created that they wanted to form
Yeah.
to follow through to be accountable every single day.
You got it.
And that's two vastly different ways of looking at it.
Yeah, and yet habits really kind of form the backbone of our daily routines, and they kind of shape the way that we're going to live our life.
Yeah.
So everybody, when most people want routines or habits, you have people say, "Don't have a routine." Really? Okay. What do you do when you wake up?
Hit the snooze button.
And then after 5 minutes, hit it again. Hit it again. Okay, so that's your habit. But you wake up, okay?
Yeah.
Some may check their phone, which is a bad idea, by the way. So I make sure now, Kieran, for at least half an hour, I don't check my phone.
And I say if it wasn't my alarm clock, and I'm fully aware that I could just go out and buy an alarm clock and solve this issue, I just haven't done it because it's a bad habit. But if my phone wasn't my alarm clock, I would have an alarm clock on my side and my phone would charge downstairs overnight. I wouldn't see it.
What's really interesting though is, despite whatever time I'm waking up, more often than not, up until now, I usually wake up 5 or 10 minutes before the alarm. Usually, not every time, more often than not. I don't know
Congratulations.
yeah, it's something in my mind. I was gotta wake up, and I think my mind just programs it. Get up, I wake up. So I don't have to rely on the alarm clock per se. I don't know what that is. I've never looked into it. I think I've just kind of programmed my mind to be on time, wake up, and my mind just somehow just 6 o'clock or 5 o'clock or 7 o'clock or whatever time, bang, wake up. So, and yet my alarm is also on my phone, just so you know. But I'll turn it off, and then that's it. Phone to the side, because it's too easy to get. First thing, what do you do? Social media, check the news, whatever else. But talking about habits, okay? So you wake up, what do you do? Some people check their phone. Some may go to
Perform their ablutions.
Yeah, absolutely. Some may they smoke, have a cigarette. Some may make a coffee. Some may brush their teeth. Okay, you should brush your teeth. Which side do you start on? Left, right, up, down.
Yeah.
Yes, and then when you ask them, they say, yeah, that's my routine. It is. Whether you've chosen that or not, well, you have chosen it, but whether you've consciously sat down and thought about it to choose it or not, that's your routine. And the same thing goes for most things that you do in your life and your daily pattern.
Yeah, and I think everyone should choose to actively control their routine rather than let their because life is what happens regardless whether you choose it or whether you don't.
Yeah.
And I would rather be in control. I would rather choose it.
Absolutely. So you decide what's right for you. And I mean, if you've told successful people, by the way, okay, they'll say, I'll wake up and I'll go for a jog. I'll go for a walk. I'll do some yoga, meditation. I'll read a particular holy book or some scripture. Okay, and then I'm going to implement that in my daily life. There'll be some other routine involved, okay, there that they've chosen on purpose. And heck, they're more successful than other people. And that's not the only reason, by the way. But if they've done that, how we do one thing is how we do everything. They've then got other cues and triggers for other things that they do during the day that helps them become more successful.
Yeah,
in terms
definitely.
of self-management, as opposed to letting time manage you and the way you do things. So you're absolutely right that you've got to, in other words, create those building blocks and create and construct a kind of modus operandi, for want of a better expression, to address and influence and manage your behaviors, your thoughts to some extent, and your outcomes.
Well, I think it's widely acknowledged that children, and particularly, operate best with a routine given to them by their parents. They eat breakfast at the same time, they go to bed at the same time, they have dinner at the same time, they brush their teeth before they go to bed. All these things, generally, parents instill in their children as a routine as they're growing up, so that as they become more independent and continue on, these things don't slide. So they've got a healthy eating regime, they've got a healthy sleep pattern, they've got a healthy cleaning regime, so on and so forth. It's all routine. It's all process.
And we know process works.
Yeah.
Because those who have a process perform better than those who don't have a process. And as we've covered on this show many times in the past, if you look at all of the real big successful businesses, and success leaves clues, is that they are process dependent and not people dependent.
Yeah.
Because if you leave it to people, then we'll change and tweak and amend and edit as we please. But once you've got a process and you follow the process, then you're more likely to get consistent results.
Yeah, exactly that.
So have that particular process. I mean, something as simple as really a do list, whether you want to call it to-do list or whether you want to call it a do list, for me was a small mini game changer, because it gave me focus for a particular day. So rather than doing it in the morning, I used to do it on the day before when I finished work.
Yeah, I can
And that
see
used
how
to work
that
well
works.
for me. And then as I got trained, and then I looked at whether I do it in the morning or the day before, it doesn't really matter. So now I'll do a bit of both, believe it or not. Sometimes in the morning and some before I start work, and sometimes the day before, as in one or two things didn't get done. I'm not perfect. Okay, I'm okay with that now. I don't beat myself up. Didn't get done. What are the other 3-4 things that I want to do? I usually make a list of 3, the most important, urgent.
Yeah.
Do one, then add the 4th one, which is now the 3rd one, reorder which one's the most important, urgent, so on and so forth. And slowly, you just get through stuff. At the end of the week, you look at your list. I've done quite a bit.
Yeah, done a fair amount.
Sometimes you don't realise.
As you know, I've got a list of to-do jobs that I keep at work that I follow and go, right, I need to do that, I need to do that, I need to do that.
And every time you forget, you have a friendly reminder.
I do.
Kieron,
Have you done?
it's on my list.
Yes, Shaz, it's on my list.
Yeah, but it really. But these small positive habits are going to set people apart from those who let their own unregulated habits control them, without or manage them without them actually realizing.
Yeah, no, it really does.
Yeah, if you could get any competitive advantage, Kieron, to outperform other people in any particular field, that requires just a bit more discipline. Why wouldn't you do it? Why would you not do it? Of course you would.
Yeah.
If you were serious about achievement.
Prime example, sidestepping a little bit, but if you are a...
You mean you're trying to take me down a rabbit hole, yeah?
Yeah. But if you wanted to get fit, healthy and in shape and build strength, build muscle, learn something, doesn't matter what it is, and you woke up at, say, 4 a.m., did some training on that thing, 4 till 5, had a break, had your breakfast, did all the rest of that fun stuff, then go to work for 8 hours, come home before tea on your way home. You get home for, say, 6 p.m, 6 till 7, you do some work on it, and then or even 6 till 8, eat at 8. You're still going to have a good evening, and you're still going to have good time to eat, good time to go to bed. Now compare that to someone who wakes up at 7 to get to work for 8. Well, in the space of a year, you've got an additional 365 hours on them.
That's just one thing, if you know what I mean.
And that's just doing one thing.
Yeah.
Now, you compound that over, a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years.
And add a few more things to it, possibly.
Potentially add a few more things. But by the time they get their brain in gear and decide they want to start trying because they want to catch you up, there is no way on this earth they can catch you, because in that just by adding that extra hour in the morning and having that discipline, you're already 4, 5, 6, 7 years ahead of where they are or where they will be in 5 years' time, in a year.
And you've already created that habit after you've been at it for a year or two.
Yeah.
That somebody else might try it, and after week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, we know what happens.
Yeah.
Just like New Year's resolutions.
Yeah, really that.
Yeah? Okay, because once that thought leaves you, the commitment leaves you.
What is it you say about discipline
Commitment.
and commitment? It is
Commitment is doing the thing that you said you would do long after the state and the time you said it in has left you.
Yeah.
You might be in a particular state because you're excited because you've just seen a fantastic speaker, for example, okay, who's sharing some stuff with you at the time. I'm going to commit to doing this. Well, 24, 48 hours later, okay,
Are you still
that
committed?
person isn't there. You've said the words and you think, I don't really mean that. But
Yeah.
you said it. So if
Yeah.
you're the person who commits to what they and honors what they say, then you're going to do what you said long after when you said it, okay, has passed.
That takes discipline.
Takes discipline, doesn't it? And those aren't my words, by the way. Somebody else told me that, and I kind of hung on to
Paraphrased
it.
them,
Yeah,
yeah.
paraphrased it to some extent, I guess.
But anyway, back to building
back-
habits.
okay, now that-
'Cause now this was that was on a bit of a tangent.
Now
about
that you've taken
discipline.
me on your first of many rabbit holes,
Yeah.
we come back and
We can come back
see
and-
the light of day again. But most people, Kieran, prefer structure.
Yeah.
They like a routine, they like structure, they like process. Whether they know it or not, they do. Because structure gives them confidence, gives them certainty.
Give me anarchy, baby.
But for most of the work, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It's a step-by-step guide. Okay, so let's go through that. Okay, if somebody wants to kind of create a habit, where do you think they should start?
What do you want the habit to do? You know, you need to set the goal on, and then initially I would start with achievable goals, and then let your goals get bigger as your ambitions get bigger, as your discipline gets harder. as
You
your
and I disagree on that word, by the way,
habits.
achievable. But okay,
Yeah,
it's your
I-
answer, so
I
I'm
know.
gonna let you carry on.
But set clear, achievable goals. Something, it can be little. It can be something little. It can be, don't hit the snooze button. Get up when your alarm goes off. It can be as little as that, as simple as that.
Yeah, because you're forming a habit to break a habit, but we
Yeah.
will talk about later. But
Yeah. But it's, you know, once you set that goal, define the specific habit that you want to establish. Make sure that it's realistic, attainable, something that's not shooting for the stars. Because at this point, we're not building something monumental that will change our lives in huge, drastic ways. We're doing something
so you
incremental.
think a small baby step.
Yeah.
Set a clear goal
Yep.
is your first one, and then you're saying create like a clear action plan on
On
the
how
next
to
steps.
achieve it.
Yeah.
On
Okay.
the next steps. But
which then gives them some kind of some form of structure.
yeah, and by doing something little first, you do a couple of things that affect you psychologically.
But regularly, consistently.
Consistent. Well,
Yeah.
this is where I'm going. Is that if you do something small that's, I'm going to use the word relatively easy, so you know it's easy, you know it's achievable, so you can do it, so you can do it consistently, so you do it consistently. That gives you a sense of achievement, and that sense of achievement makes you feel good, and it
With the
snowballs, and
repetition as well.
and
And you think, yeah, I can do this.
and yeah. But if you give yourself a massive goal and you don't achieve it straight away, or you find it difficult, you stumble, if you haven't started small and built that resilience, then it's easier to give up. So start small, make it very difficult for yourself to give up. Make it difficult, because that not giving up will become a habit.
I think it was a book by Jim Collins, and I hope I don't get this wrong, by the way. I think it was Great by Choice. So the book that Jim Collins is known for is Good to Great.
Good to great.
But he wrote another book called Great by Choice. I think he was in that one there when he talks about Captain Scott and somebody else competing. Okay, I think it was to get to the North Pole. I think it was. Okay, but I read it a long time ago. I've aged since then, Kieran. So I hope I haven't got it wrong. But the other chap, okay, used to walk a certain number of, let's say, miles per day without fail.
Yep.
Scott, depending on what the weather was like and how he felt, did what he could. And long story short, the
He
chap,
came second.
I don't think he made it. I can't remember now.
I can't remember.
I don't want to get it wrong, but I think I've given enough information for someone to research it if they're interested. But because he created the habit, 5 miles per day, whether it's raining or whether there's a storm coming or whatever there is, I'm going to do 5 miles a day no matter what happens. That habit helped him get there.
Yeah, it's probably the habit that made him get there, not helped him, made him.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
So yeah, and that's why I say be consistent, but be consistently easy to begin with, because that will ingrain in you the habit of not giving up.
Yeah.
And so it's a 2 for 1.
Yeah, and I think in the same book, I think it is, he talks about the prisoners of war that were caught in Vietnam,
Yeah,
and those who actually believed that they would get out are the ones who lasted and got out, and the ones who gave up, some of them unfortunately didn't make it.
yeah,
We're never going to get out. So you're right, but giving up, okay, usually means you've now decided it's not going to happen for you.
yeah.
And having that hope and strength isn't always easy. Okay, we get that, but you've got to have that belief in your inner belief that you can do it.
But if you've already, so say you want to, for example, drink more water, not hit snooze on the alarm, and do more
Smoke
exercise.
less or whatever, hold more exercise, whatever.
Do more exercise, right? Those are 3 completely achievable, very small goals. And drink more water, put a bottle of water around the house so that it's always visible to you.
Take one
wherever
with you
you
to
are.
work,
Take one with you to
whatever,
work,
yeah.
etc.,
Stick one in your car, yeah.
There are easy triggers that you can give to remind you to do this. If you want to just stop pressing snooze on your alarm, put your phone on the other side of the room, put your alarm on the other side of the room, so you've got to get up and get out of bed to turn the alarm off. It'll remind you that, oh, I'm up now.
Well, we all know what stops us
Yeah,
and what excuses we're going to make. Yeah. If you know yourself well enough. So eliminate those excuses by having those things around you that you can't make an excuse anymore.
yeah, and be honest with yourself. But so you've got those triggers, you've got those those excuse eliminators, and suddenly in your own brain, from a moral standpoint, if you like, from an active,
You'll feel guilty and bad about it. If nothing else.
if you cheat yourself.
Yeah.
But if you achieve this, these little triggers, these little consistencies, then in the back of your brain, whether consciously or unconsciously, you're going, I did that, I achieved, excellent. So
you're planning. You're
so I can
preparing your subconscious with a positive affirmation.
Yeah.
I can do it. I've done it. Bang. More.
More.
So now you're gonna stack it. So
Yeah.
you've got the small and consistent behavior. Now
Yeah.
you're creating triggers and reminders. After that, you've got to, I assume, Kieran, you've got to track your performance and progress.
And whether you're tracking that with knowing number of bottles of water drunk per day, or whether it's keeping a journal, whether it's taking notes, whether it's your do list, any of those things, just keep a track. If you're confident in yourself, you can keep mental note. That's fine, and that is absolutely fine. 100%. But you've got to be honest with yourself, and that's the first thing about all of this. Is if you're not honest with yourself, I kind of did it. Well, the conversation is between you, yourself, and me. Do you know what I mean? It's not a conversation for somebody else.
On that note, what habits do you have then, Kieran?
Me?
Give us an insight.
So, on my days off, when I'm not at work,
that's Monday to Friday then, yeah?
Yeah. So Monday to Friday, I wake up at 7:30 every single day, whether I'm at work or whether I'm not. First thing I do is wash and clean my teeth. I get out, go straight to the bathroom. That is my routine. After that, an hour of housework. Doesn't matter what housework I do an hour of housework. I then do what I want for the rest of the day. Then it's an hour of housework in the evening, so I know that there's stuff that gets done every single day.
And what, if any, bad habits do you have that you class as bad?
That I class as bad habits. I've got a lot of bad habits. If
Give us an insight to 1, 2, or 3.
If I know I've got excess work to do, in terms of, especially in the evening or stuff like that, I have a really bad habit of putting it off until until later. I generally know how long.
Procrastination.
Yeah, procrastination. I generally know how long things are going to take me. And sometimes I will leave it to. Well, it's probably I can do it in 4 hours, but I know I can do it in 2. I'll give myself 2 hours, and then there'll be that pressure.
You thrive on that, I guess. So do I, by the way. I always leave it last minute on purpose. I know now I'm focused. I'm gonna knock it out. And that's all okay as well, as long as you don't exceed the deadline. But sometimes I guess you might do something you don't, and through experience you learn that. So we've covered a lot here in terms of what habits are, good and bad. In terms of when you're looking to create a habit, what are the things you ought to look at? So in the second half, we're now going to look at changing habits and everything else that comes with it. But before we do that, we're going to go to a very short break. So please join us straight after the break. Assalamu alaikum.
Stay tuned to Salam Radio after this short ad break.
Masterminds Tuition Academy is for your high schoolers, your something to provers, your subject strugglers and keen learners, your brave jumpers and fist pumpers. Affordable personalised learning plans are delivered through our centres in schools across Peterborough. But not to worry, we also provide online and home visits with flexible timings. Whether it is maths, English, science or 11 plus, Masterminds is a must. Find us on all socials and visit our website mastermindstuitionacademy.com or call us on 07516 166 003. Masterminds, master the matrix.
At Master's Pharmacy, we put your health and convenience first. We offer free blood pressure checks and blister-packed medication. With our free same-day prescription delivery service, you can have your medication when you need it. We also offer travel vaccinations, including Hajj and Umrah, along with other services to meet all your pharmacy needs. For more information, contact Master's Pharmacy on 01733 567 208 or visit us at 303 Lincoln Road, PE1 2PH.
Thinking of laser hair removal but worried about cost? Well Skin Clinic, Peterborough's #1 aesthetic clinic, offers 0% finance on courses of laser hair removal. We perform thousands of treatments using the Soprano titanium in our prestigious clinic. Virtually pain-free and suitable for all skin types, our team of aesthetic professionals can help you achieve your goals affordably. Well Skin Clinic, making life-changing aesthetic treatments affordable for all. 40 Cowgate, Peterborough. Call or WhatsApp us on 01733 555540.
Do you own a restaurant or takeaway? Cater Fair is an expert supplier of new and used commercial catering equipment. Visit caterfair.co.uk for quality equipment on sale at the lowest prices, or call us on 01733 310 115 or visit us at 11 Royce Road, Fengate, Peterborough.
At Cake Inn, all our cakes and slices are freshly baked for that delicious taste. At Cake Inn, we bake 100% vegetarian and halal eggless fresh cream cakes. Delicious flavoured cakes for birthdays and weddings, ceremonies and all other occasions, with free customised messages, even balloons and candles too. Order for delivery or collection from Cake Inn, 489 Lincoln Road, PE1 2PE, and your cake could be ready within 2 hours. Find out more and order online at cakein.co.uk or call 01733 496 584.
Mart Food Store, Lincoln Road, Triangle, te inna rush o balle hoy tusani amba ne pure mulke vich rolle
Pakistani sogatan ji amb le lo jamnu le lo Pakistani taze mithe amb te jamnu aa gaye ji
ਯਕੀਨ ਕਰੋ ਜੀ ਭਾਈ ਨਾ ਮਾਰਟ ਫੂਡ ਸਟੋਰ ਵਾਲੇ ਕਿੰਨੇ ਵਰਿਆਂ ਤੋਂ ਸਾਨੂੰ ਪਾਕਿਸਤਾਨ ਤੋਂ ਆਪਣੀ ਬ੍ਰਾਂਡ ਦਾ ਅੰਬ ਮੰਗਵਾ ਕੇ ਪੂਰੇ ਯੂਕੇ ਨੂੰ ਨਸ਼ਲ ਲਵਾਉਂਦੇ ਆ ਤੇ ਹੁਣ ਪਾਕਿਸਤਾਨੀ ਜਾਮਣੂ ਵੀ ਭਾਈ ਉਹ ਜਨੇ ਨੇ ਆ ਪੁੱਤਰ
Amar Food Stores, Al Mashu, fresh halal meat and groceries. Address 613B Lincoln Road, Triangle, Peterborough. Telephone 01733 687374. Amar Food Stores, Meyar ka naam, munasib daam.
You're listening to Peterborough's community radio, Salam Radio. Salam Radio.
Assalamu alaikum, good evening and welcome back to the second half of our show on Salam Radio 106.2 FM. I'm Shaz Nawaz and I have my co-pilot with me.
Kieron Bateman, good evening.
Well, you stayed the length, so it must be a good evening.
It's always a good evening when I'm with you.
I'm pleased, Kieran. I only come here because of you. I hope you know that.
You realise I only come here because of you. Oh, this could be awkward.
We might talk about that on the next show then.
Maybe.
After you tell us about your bad habits. But before you do that, we'd love for you to participate, share with us your habits, because that's what we're talking about today. If you want to do that, call us on 01733 602 133. You can text us on 07411 191 062, or use any of the popular live streams, which are on Facebook, YouTube, X, or Twitch. This week on Wealth Made Simple, we were talking about habits.
Yep.
And we talked about creating habits and the importance of habits and how people have habits that they don't realize they have habits. So we've done that bit. And you were going to share one or two or three bad habits. So just share one, and then we're going to talk about where we finished off earlier in terms of once you've created a habit. Reprogramming. The bad habit of yours.
Yep. Cooking.
As in, you're a good cook, you're a bad cook, or you cook too much, or you don't cook enough?
All of the above. So I do quite a lot of the cooking in our household, which is fine. I don't particularly enjoy cooking, though.
But you do it.
I do it. I can cook. I'm no Michelin star chef, but yeah, I can follow a recipe and get a good
Wasn't that
meal
program
out.
on TV called Can't Cook, Won't Cook or something?
Yeah, I won't cook, and a lot of people mistake won't cook for can't cook, and that really annoys me sometimes because I can cook. And I can also make it up on the fly and make a really good lasagna. But anyway, it's very easy for me and very and it is a bad habit of I really don't want to cook tonight. Let's get takeaway.
I think there's plenty of people in that boat, by the way. Plenty of people in that boat.
And I know it's bad for me. I know it's over expensive. I know it costs more than it should. It's not as healthy as cooking at home. Yada, yada, yada. The list of all the bad things about
But
this.
it's convenient at that moment of time.
But in that moment in time, that convenience of, do you know what? I can get on with something else that's more important to me at the time. I'm going to go and sit down and do that and wait for food to arrive. It's a bad habit. I know that. Coffee is another bad habit. Yeah. Yeah,
I've seen that. Yeah.
I have a lot of more coffee than most people should in a day.
But you like it, so I guess
yeah,
it is what it is.
But I recognise it's a bad habit.
Yeah. At least you recognise it. So once somebody's created a small habit, and they've done well, what should they do next, do you think? Do they just move on to the next habit? Should they celebrate some kind of success?
Absolutely. I think every success should be celebrated, no matter how small, because it reinforces that positivity of putting the work in, putting the effort
something.
Getting that achievement is worthwhile.
And interestingly, we're all good at beating ourselves up, as you know, Kieran.
Yeah, we are.
But we're not so good at celebrating every success we have.
Yeah. If, people celebrate the big milestones in their lives. They celebrate, a marriage, a birthday,
16, 18, 21,
18,
25, or
exactly.
30, 40, 50, 60, so on and so forth.
Okay, well, how many people give themselves a treat for quitting smoking? Oh, I quit smoking, must be 10 years ago now. Have I ever rewarded myself for doing that? No.
Yeah.
And that's quite significant to a lot of people.
Big.
It's a big thing.
It is. And costly, yeah.
Yeah, but
Bad for your health.
But people don't reward themselves for it. Do people reward themselves if they get a promotion? They might go out and have a party, little bit of celebration.
They do, yeah, sometimes, some don't, yeah.
But
there's other milestones as well.
But there's so many micro milestones. How have you done? So wanted to start eating healthily. Okay, cool. That's a good goal to have. That's a good, habit to form. Eat healthily. Okay, so you've cut down from, say, 5-6 takeaways a week to 3 takeaways a week. That's a milestone. And you're consistently
Celebrate it.
doing
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Be good to
Celebrate
yourself.
it.
Don't
Be
beat
good
yourself
to
up. Yeah. So reward yourself.
Yes.
And what if we're then working on stuff and it's not quite working?
This is where, as we said earlier, discipline comes in. Yeah, that consistency. Acknowledge that not everything's going to go your way. This is the real world. This isn't Is this the real life? Is this just
That's
fantasy?
a whole different episode.
Yep. But acknowledge that setbacks are a part of life. You're not gonna, wake up one morning and just be good at whatever it is you want to do. Sadly,
Nobody is, yeah.
we're not at that stage in human development where we can plug.
Not everybody's Mozart.
Yeah, we can't just plug in a device into our brain and download the next,
And even Mozart, by the way, had to do
yeah,
stuff. I
yeah.
think,
I mean, he was a child prodigy.
yeah.
But this is the thing. It's if you and it's one of those things that I really dislike, especially with dieting, and you hear this a lot with dieting, is fallen off the wagon. Okay, that's fine. Get back on. Not, and this is what happens. Oh, I've already fallen off the wagon now. May as well go all in. Well, okay.
Next week, next month, next year. Yeah, that's
Next.
So be persistent.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Be consistent, be persistent, and be disciplined.
And be ready for that. We're going to have setbacks.
Yeah.
And then just at that time, have some kind of cue how you're going to deal with it.
Yeah. It's
And
the,
so
yeah.
you're not expecting, let's just say,
A perfect score.
perfect score, and you're anticipating that just like most of the people, there are going to be setbacks, shortcomings, and you're preparing for those when they happen. You recognize them, you deal with them, and so you don't fall off the wagon. You
Yeah.
might slip, but you don't fall off the wagon.
Yeah. I mean, and I can only talk about my experience when I stopped smoking. And I say the word stopped. I never quit. I stopped because that one change in the word changed the mindset of it. If I went out when I was in that process, I went out on a night out, saw my friends, they were all smoking at the time. I had a cigarette with them. Okay, fine. I had a cigarette. Then, for the rest of the week I didn't. And I never beat myself up about that. And it was less and less and less until, the thought, no, I'm good. I don't want. And okay, cool.
But you made that decision. I'm done with it.
Yeah.
You made it.
I
And
made
people
that
telling you-
decision.
And this is what we're talking about earlier on.
Yeah, yeah.
You've got to decide.
But I didn't beat myself up and start the habit again when I had 1 or 3 on a night out. I went, okay, well that's happened. These things happen. Start again tomorrow.
So people listening in will be thinking, I hear what you're saying, guys. It makes sense. But what are some of the benefits to me? So you can share some, and I'll share some based on our experience. What a benefit?
Based on my experience, discipline and self-control. You build these micro habits. You build these little
Muscle and
habits.
strengthen your brain.
It strengthens your brain, but it reinforces that the things you want to do as a choice. Getting up early, going for a walk, whatever it is. You get these little. It reinforces that structure in your brain, that having structure is a good thing. It's a powerful thing, and it gives you that discipline.
The subconscious feeds the conscious, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Okay. And
you've got to feed the subconscious.
Yeah, of course you, and create those habits, and we've talked previously about having those filing cabinets. Okay. And as you know, 95% of the mind is subconscious. 5% is conscious, which is the logical mind, which actually decides yes or no. So the more that you do something, okay, the more the subconscious feeds you, because this is what you want. It's like a dumb terminal, if you know what I mean, okay? Yeah. So you've got to reprogram it, and that's not easy, by the way, because sometimes it tricks you, doesn't it? It tricks you. So you've got to be ready for that. So I think a big one, from my point of view, is you have increased and improved productivity. So you do more, whatever more you want to do, by creating those good and better habits.
Yep. And And I think also alongside that, you get less bad habits.
Because now you recognize that.
Well, not just that you recognize it, but also you only have 24 hours in a day. You only have enough time for a certain number of habits.
Yep.
You only have enough space in your filing cabinet for a certain number of habits. And if you've chosen those habits meticulously, well crafted, well thought out for
There's less
productivity,
space for anything else, yeah.
there's less space for bad habits.
Yeah.
There's less space for negativity.
Because you've got the structure. No, that's right. Yeah.
You know?
So you got that. I mean,
So that helps your brain, helps your mindset.
Enhanced mental well-being, which is obviously a big challenge, both in terms of taking those positive steps to exercise, mindfulness, yoga, meditation, be it whatever it might be, reading. Okay, keeps you in a better mental state.
No,
And that's a big one.
Yeah, and that goes hand in hand with exactly what we were just saying.
Yeah.
I think adopting. And this has to be a choice. You've got to adopt the healthy habits, but you adopt healthy habits, you get better physical health. Simple as that. If
Keeps you going, yeah.
It keeps you going. The snowball effect. And once you have, better health, better mentality, less negativity, then your overall well-being becomes better. So you get less stressed.
You're thinking more clearly. You're making better decisions. Okay, you're seeing opportunities that you weren't seeing before. You're thinking of them in a very different way. It all correlates, doesn't it, into this same thing, which is taking you towards the goal that you want to achieve, or the goals you want to achieve. And with that, I think what's important is it helps you to create consistent personal growth and development.
Yeah. And that in itself makes you feel better about who you are, makes you a nicer person, makes you a better person overall. Yeah. Which makes your personal relationships, your interpersonal relationships with other people better, more positive because... Because
you feel better about yourself.
Yeah.
You got the confidence. And Kieron, when you've been confident, you there's a different aura about you.
Yeah, there really is.
And then with that, of course, with those things, especially the enhanced mental well-being and the physical well-being you talked about, that's going to help you reduce stress.
Yeah.
And also it's going to help you to strengthen your emotional intelligence and resilience.
And all of this,
that again is a big one.
As a side benefit, has an impact of all those around you, because a rising tide raises all ships.
It does.
And so once you're doing these things and you're feeling better about yourself, you're more positive, you're happier, you're the best version of you because of these habits. Your friends that notice that are going to, you'll
influence them and they'll do good stuff. Yeah.
How are you doing this? What are you doing? And you pass on the knowledge, you pass on the information. Domino effect. And suddenly your entire friendship circle is doing these things. And suddenly your entire friendship circle's rising all together and you're doing great things together. And suddenly you're not talking about little things anymore. Now you're talking about investments and business and promoting and wealth and generational wealth and improving and
changing society, so on and so forth. I mean,
changing the world.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
And so all from tiny little habits.
I think it was Margaret Mead who said, don't doubt or don't deny the fact that a small group of people can change the world. Indeed, it's the only thing that ever has.
Yeah, and it's true.
Yeah,
it's true.
Okay, so you've got that. Now, before we look at breaking habits,
I got a little bit
animated there.
Animated on the soapbox.
But I think it's important, Kieron, because you can influence so many people's lives, because you might just help 3 people. They're going to help 3 people each. That's 9 people, so on and so forth.
Well, I mean, 6 degrees
exponential. Do you know what I mean?
Is it 5 degrees, 6 degrees of
5,
separation?
Yeah. But
to anyone in the world, 5 degrees of separation.
Yeah, it's a big thing.
Yeah, you pick those 5 people. It doesn't matter who. The 5 people around you are going to be connected to another 5 people, another 5 people, another 5 people. If all of that positive, I've learnt it from someone. I've learnt a lot from you, and so that affects me. But it doesn't just affect me; it also affects my partner. It affects my friends
and the people that meet in the future, all that kind of stuff. Yeah. Absolutely, yeah. So before we go into changing habits, you're right. It is exponential. I want to share. Don't do this often enough. Some of the books that I've read and enjoyed on creating habit, and of course, you can do the same too.
Yeah.
So my favorite two or three favorites in fact. The Power of Habit by Charles Duhigg. I think it's a brilliant book.
I've not read it.
Phenomenal book. I enjoyed that a lot. Alongside that, one of the all-time greats, The 7 Habits of Highly Successful People.
I also love that book.
I like that a lot. One that I read more recently was Atomic Habits by James Clear. Nice book. I find it quite an easy read. Another one which is on habits, and this is more because I like the person and the stuff that they share. Brendan Bashard on high performance habits. I think it's a good book, but it's more general as opposed to some of the books that I've shared with you. I think that was a brilliant one. You've got Drive by Daniel Pink. That's more about motivation, but I think it can come into the world of habit as well.
You have to find a way to stay motivated on some of these things.
And Daniel's book's quite old now, but it's a good one and always worth revisiting. And the last one, which I liked, which is by Dan Ariely, Dollars and Cents. There's a longer title to it. I think that's a really good one. What are some of your ones, Kieran, that you've enjoyed reading or you'd recommend?
I think Tiny Habits, The Small Changes That Can Change Your Life. That's by BJ Fogg.
Mm-hmm.
Very, very strong book. For me, things... now, I've not read this one, but it is on my list, is The Creative Habit. Learning how to be more creative and more dynamic in your choice. Yeah. That's by Dwight Tharp. The One Thing by Jay Paspan. Good book. And Millionaire Success Habits, because, if you're going to learn
Dean
from someone...
or somebody else?
Dean Graziosi,
yeah.
I mean, we've discussed him at length, individually.
Dean's good, I like Dean.
He's very, very good, but also
good marketeer.
Yeah, very, very good marketeer. But this is all about wealth made simple, and bringing it slightly back. But habits can generate wealth.
100%. I think it's one of the, like I said at the start. I don't like using those cliche statements, but it is, I think, a game changer, because that habit you're going to have, and that's going to change your outlook. And when you implement that over days, weeks, months, years, decades, it has a huge impact. Not just on you, but the people around you. Okay, and it really is a game changer.
And there's two more books that I want to mention.
Go on,
is the You Are Not Your Brain.
Yeah, but that. Yeah,
it's it
good one.
It covers some really good things about how to reprogram. And the other one is How to Change Your Mind, which is a fantastic book.
It is good book. Yeah. Okay, perfect. So there's some homework for people if they're interested in looking at this further.
And any of those books.
Now, we know, Kieran, habits, which the longer they stay, okay, it's the old saying, old habits are hard, okay? Never a truer word spoken. So breaking a habit, especially which has been instilled in us, okay, by us over a long time, can be a very challenging process, but also it's a rewarding process, but it requires dedication, self-awareness, all the things that we've talked about earlier on this particular episode. If somebody wants to break a habit, where do they start?
With Linkin Park.
Yeah, I know. Yeah.
No, I think first things first, you need to do a full life analysis. And I know people, that's boring. Why would I want to do it? Okay, go through your day, day by day.
Ryan Reynolds, what's that movie? Hitman's Bodyguard.
The Hitman's Wife's Bodyguard.
Yeah. Boring is best.
Yeah, boring is best. I like boring.
It works.
Yeah, but if you do...
Now, you're impressed. At least I remembered one line from some movie.
Yeah, I am impressed. That has made my
only
day.
line I remember, by the way. Apart from I'll be back. But so 2 lines.
Yeah.
If you want to call that a line.
Well, but yeah, look at what you do and realize what is a habit. Identify the habits. Identify what triggers those habits. Are you that person that meets up with your friends in the pub, has a cigarette because you've got
to identify the trigger
that's a trigger. That's an easy trigger. And
or the cue.
yeah, why are you doing it?
Trigger cue, yeah.
Are you sitting down in front of the TV and then not getting up until bedtime? Is the channel the cue? Is pushing the button, the trigger on your TV? Any of these little things are triggers and cues.
So you do something, if you figure out what happens before you do that, which is the trigger and the cue. So you've got that now. What do we do next?
So once you've identified it and understand the circumstances, the emotions, and the environment that lead to that habit, you'll become for a short period of time. You'll become hyper aware of it, and that is the time to take action, because this hyper awareness is now kicking in.
So set a new goal.
So set a new goal. When I do this, I'm going to choose to do this instead.
Yeah.
When I sit down to watch television of an evening, I'm going to choose to watch.
That's your goal.
An episode, not the entire series.
So you're replacing it with a positive alternative habit.
Yeah. So to begin with, you're not stopping something, you're replacing it.
And the people out there say, well, that's all well and good, but I'm fallible. I'm gonna fall short of this.
Yeah.
I might jump off or fall off the wagon. So
you might.
What else do they need around them to make that better for them, or easier, or more achievable? Using your earlier words.
Yeah, more achievable. A supportive environment, something that will
The people
encourage
around
them
you.
and the people around them that will encourage them to continue on.
So both the physical environment and
a mental one. Yeah, and be accountable. Oh, it wasn't my fault, it's a habit. Well, no, it was your fault. I hate to be the bearer of bad news.
grow up.
Yeah.
Simply grow up.
Yeah. You're not 5 years old. You can't throw a tantrum and say, it's not my fault. No, it is your fault. You are doing it. You chose to do it.
Yeah.
You identified the trigger, and then you chose to be accountable. But don't beat yourself up by being accountable.
Just recognize it.
Recognize that you chose to do that. Okay, you fell back into a bad habit.
So be mindful and self-reflect, I think is what you're saying.
Yeah.
Which is important, isn't it?
Yeah.
Very important.
Very important.
And be okay with not being okay and saying, I tripped up.
Yeah.
I slipped.
I'm human.
Exactly. Yeah. Let's move on.
Let's
go back to it.
Let's not dwell on it.
Because you chose to change the habit, so let's work on it. Yeah.
Let's not dwell on it. I spent a number of years working in live television. And when you make a mistake, it's live. You can't go back and redo it. So, but you'd get some people, and I'm going somewhere with this, I promise. But you get some people that, I made a mistake. Oh, great. Wait, no, that means I missed that as well. Oh God, I've made two mistakes now. This is. Now I've made a third mistake because I was too busy wondering about those other two mistakes, and they just spiral down and down and down and down and down, and it becomes very difficult to come back from that. Whereas we were taught and we learned very quickly, and we had to because
move on.
Oh, I made a mistake. Okay, log that for later. I'll look at it, find out why it happened. Anyway, moving on. Carrying on.
It's the same in sport, isn't it? I mean, right now,
Pick
watching
yourself up.
the
Pick
Cricket
yourself
World
up.
Cup, okay?
Yeah.
And the catch is being dropped by teams.
Yeah.
Okay? And it might be a bowler who drops a catch. If he's stood there, okay, or if, when the next time he's bowling, he's thinking, I dropped a catch, and he's beating himself up, he's going to perform not so well.
Yeah.
Okay, these are supreme athletes representing their countries, okay? And doing the job that they really want to do, or the work they really want to do. And they've had the support, let's just say, okay, to kind of overcome that quicker than we can. But you see how quickly they move on to next. And maybe at the back of their mind it's there, but they know they've got to be in the moment.
Yeah.
Because they've dropped that catch. Thinking about that for the next 10 overs isn't going to change anything. Just move on.
Yeah, exactly that.
Easier said than done, but it's important.
Yeah, and that's what it's in either of these examples, that's what your teammates help with. That's the supportive environment you're in. You've done it, okay, move on. We'll talk about it afterwards.
But this is a habit somebody's had for a long time.
Yeah.
And old habits die hard, and then they get tempted.
Yeah, you do.
So what do we do then?
But you need to try and develop strategies and utilize your support network, utilize your friends, speak to someone. Yeah, you don't have to do everything alone. Yeah,
move on from that thought process, as in
move on.
Get out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
When you see because you'll become aware of it. You'll see it happening. Yeah, pull back and go, okay, what am I going to do different?
And finally, I guess you're going to say celebrate the success once you've broken the habit, because that's all important.
Yeah. And celebrate that success, celebrate that win, because it is a win.
Yeah, because if you don't be good to yourself, nobody else is either, by the way.
Yeah.
And even if nobody else is, as long as you are, that's what really matters. Yeah. Well, we've covered a lot today, Kieron, because I think this is a big one in terms of habits, changing habits, creating habits, recognizing those habits.
Linkin Park, The Habits.
Yeah.
For those who don't know, they did a song called Breaking the Habit. I know you know, but not everyone, not everyone listens to them.
Fair enough. And then celebrate success. I think that's really important. And I think the other big one was then sharing that with the people around you to influence them, which is fantastic, by the way. So until next week, take care of yourselves, create those good habits, break those bad habits.
Stay tuned to Salam Radio after this short ad break.